As we've been telling you, when Republicans gather in Iowa tonight for their last face-off, Donald Trump will be noticeably absent. And as Trump's grip on the top spot grows, so do concerns among some members of the establishment who want a viable alternative to rally around. And that's ramping up pressure on the weaker candidates to drop out. Joining me now, Foster Friess. He's the founder of Friess Associates and a supporter of Rick Santorum. He is widely credited with funding Santorum's 2012 presidential run. Good morning, sir.
Oh, Carol, nice to be with you on CNN. What an honor that you invited me. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for being with me. I appreciate it. I have to ask you about this debate drama that's going on. What do you make of it?
Well, I'm just amazed that Donald Trump is a master in getting earned media, but I kind of think the whole debate and primary process has turned into a very sophisticated Jerry Springer show. And I just am so excited to be with Rick Santorum on the trail, where he talks about the threat of ISIS. He talks about the issue of ethanol to Iowans, how important that is, and how he's been a longtime supporter, not because of political favor with the farmers, but just because of a national security issue where he believes by increasing the fuel supply we do well. So the excitement of hearing those issues is really refreshing, where most of the candidates are talking about non-issues. And Rick, the other day we had 8 people in a coffee shop, all were for someone else. By the end of the day, after his presentation, 7 of them came over to his side. So I'm excited about the fact that he probably has the best chance of winning, because he won in Pennsylvania, his 2 Pennsylvania races where he had 1 million more Democrats.
Well, we'll
million
see.
More, and he still beat him.
Back to Donald Trump for just a second. Some establishment Republicans think he's bad for the Republican Party and would make a dangerous president. What do you say?
Well, my success, God blessed me with success because of a very important principle, and that's I looked at people and I harnessed their strengths and I ignored their weaknesses. Donald's weakness might be diplomatic speech, but as far as his ability to excite people and get a message across is what's bothering the American people. And I think I love the fact that he's kind of repeating all the things Rick Santorum has been saying. Rick Santorum at his announcement said we have to cut back not only illegal immigration, but we have to cut back legal immigration to save the jobs for American workers.
Wait a minute. Does that mean you kind of like Donald Trump?
Well, I like the fact that he's bringing a lot of new voters to our party, and I like the fact that what he's saying. You know, what he's saying is what Rick Santorum has been saying all along. Rick Santorum just doesn't say it as cleverly as our friend Donald Trump.
Well, let me ask you this. Yeah. Let me ask you this. Evangelicals, and I know you have a very strong faith, evangelicals threw their support behind Rick Santorum in Iowa, right? Rick Santorum won Iowa.
Yeah, they did.
Right? So,
right, absolutely.
But
yes.
Donald Trump is a very different guy than Rick Santorum. Why do you think evangelicals like Donald Trump?
Well, I think you saw this thing about the raccoon story, where you come home from vacation after 3 weeks, you got 200 raccoons in your basement, you call the exterminator. You could care less if he's got bad breath and is a mean, ornery guy. You just want the raccoons gone. And I think the frustration of the American public has got to that point where they really haven't thought out, perhaps, what is the chance for Donald Trump to go in a general election. He's never been tested in an election, and they just are so upset with the lawlessness that we've had, the divisiveness. Rick Santorum got almost a standing ovation when he talked about how he treated the other side with respect. Barbara Boxer and he went out of tooth and nail, but he said because he treated her with respect and he dealt with the issues, not the personality, when it came to author the Iranian Security Act, Barbara Boxer was his co-sponsor. So when he said we want to get rid of divisiveness, he's a guy who can bring us together. We have too much rich against poor, black against white.
As you know, Foster, Rick Santorum isn't doing so well in the polls, and a lot of candidates aren't doing so well. Some establishment Republicans say, you know what, it's time to drop out so that, you know, voters can coalesce about a candidate who's doing okay, like Marco Rubio. Do you think that it's time for candidates with like 2%, 1% support to drop out?
Well, if they're at 2%, at least, Carol, they're tied with low-fat milk, so that's a start. And I think who cares about the polls when you think about it? The polls, last time he was 5 8% in the polls 9 days before he won Iowa. What does that say to people? And Matt Bevin was down 4% in the Kentucky race. He wins by 9. And so the polls are like 360 people. I promise you, you have a possibility of a surprise, because you go to these little events we've been going to. People love Rick Santorum's warmth. He loves his temperament, and the fact that he can sit down and explain what is the threat of ISIS. He was the first guy. I mean, he authored the Iranian the sanctions, and he named the enemy as fundamentalist Islam. Everybody else called war on terror. In World War II, did we declare war on blitzkriegs? Terror is not an enemy. I mean, why do people not name the enemy?
All right, I have to leave it there. Foster Friess, thanks for being with me this morning.
Oh, I'm here right in the middle of an Iowa heat wave. I'm going to put my bathing suit on and head to the lake this afternoon.
I know, it's a good thing you got that warm coat on and that cool hat. Thanks, Foster Friess. Still to come in the newsroom.